right, going live in 3. All right, we have an official release. Again, this is from the DoD. If people are still under the rock of the fact that this is going to keep picking up, this is going to keep going in the same direction, the stuff that we have talked about for years is now all of a sudden coming true like it's some sort of fairy tale. Again, this is a DoD release about China's military. And funny enough, it brings up North Korea. It brings up a lot of things. But it brings up how aggressive they have been. Again, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but to pull out of this, they are essentially saying that there is a 300% increase in areas, that they are essentially inventing things. They are doing things that they've never seen before, and that they are going to be pitted up against us very soon. It talks about how we have this trade war going, and it very well talks about how this trade war could spiral into something else. Again, China is undertaking an unprecedented military buildup. This is not an article. This is DoD. Unprecedented military buildup, developing a large and advanced arsenal of nuclear, conventional, cyber, and space capabilities, said John Na, performing the duties of Assistant Secretary of Defense. Another part says China aims to dominate the Indo-Pacific region and displace the United States as the world's most powerful nation. Putting it in simple terms, they want number one spot. I mean, gosh, that's pretty obvious, right? It said stronger allies lead to stronger alliances, and stronger alliances deter aggression and create dilemmas for our adversaries, he said. Again, foremost among them is China's increasingly aggressive and assertive behavior. Their unprecedented military modernization encompassing advancements in artificial intelligence, which, again, they are ahead of us in. Hypersonic missiles, space-based capabilities, among others, poses a real and serious threat to our homeland, to our allies, and to our partners. In 2024, the PLA demonstrated growing capabilities through persistent operations against Taiwan, escalating by 300%. China's aggressive military actions near Taiwan are not just exercises, they are rehearsals, which is pretty obvious. While the PLA attempts to intimidate the people of Taiwan and demonstrate coercive capability, these actions can backfire, drawing increased global attention and accelerating Taiwan's own defensive preparations, Papara said. China is outproducing the United States in air, maritime, and missile capability, while also accelerating its space and counter-space capabilities, he said, adding that this poses a real and serious challenge to the U.S. military superiority, but also presents opportunities for reform and establishing enduring advantages. There are also other threats in the region. North Korea's development of advanced nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, including new intercontinental ballistic missiles capable of reaching the United States, poses a direct threat on our homeland and to our allies. Again, though we face serious challenges, the joint force remains confident, resolute, and determined to prevail. Deterrence remains our highest duty. Everybody talks about this very calming term called deterrence. But deterrence doesn't work forever, and especially when you're dealing with a country that almost ties its military ambitions to its religion. The heavenly mandate says they need to be number one, and Xi is not getting any younger. This is going to happen sooner, and you better hope that we don't see an article saying that Xi is sick or sickly, because if he is, he's going to pull that trigger sooner than later. Again, we'll talk about this and much, much more, and even a Harvard scientist that says that Mars was wiped out by a nuclear war. Again, there's so much crazy stuff. The truth is stranger than fiction right now. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, so let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
By the way, big shout out to Neil Nelson. Thank you for gifting out 10 badges to the Foogle fam. Again, a bunch of you ended up snatching those up. Thank you so much. Again, it is very cool that they allowed to do that. Serenity, Globetrotter, again, make sure to thank Neil Nelson for that. Catriel, Debpool, Serenity's Gate, again, Ryan Alter, Thomas Eugene Garcia, Susie Q Reynolds, and D Fine, and Cody Sedlock. You guys all, thank you. Again, that's awesome. Now you are official badge members. Again, thank you. Neil Nelson, again, thank you for not only the support, but making it to many, many shows. I can't again think of a week in the last 5 years you've missed one. All right, and then Dex, let's talk about Trump. Israel would be the leader of Iran strike if Tehran doesn't give up nuclear weapons program.
Well, yeah, so it's kind of weird the way he says it, but that's what they're taking out of this. So they're saying that his conversation on Wednesday and what he gave as an update, saying that Iran would be the leader of a potential military strike. Specifically, what he was talking about was early in the week, he was talking about having direct contact and talks with Iran, and that's coming up this weekend. But he says, if it requires military, we're going to have military, Trump said. He said Israel will obviously be very much involved in that. They'll be the leader of that, but nobody leads us. We do what we want to do. So I guess he was sort of saying they may lead the military action, but that doesn't mean that they're our leader. I guess he was trying to clarify that in that statement. But that's what people are taking out of it, is if there is a strike, if there is a military action going forward against Iran, that Israel will be taking the brunt of it as the lead role.
Yeah, so, I mean, this shores up almost everything everybody thought about this. I mean, everybody could see that coming from a million miles away. And then Russian spies paid teenager to burn down an IKEA. This is the claim here. And again, it says Russia allegedly paid a Ukrainian teenager to firebomb an IKEA store as part of a hybrid war on the West, U.S. media reported on Thursday. It said Russian spies are said to have offered the 17-year-old 11,000 or 8,000 pounds in cash and a BMW to carry out the attack on an IKEA store in the Lithuanian capital of Vilnius, the New York Times reported. The agents communicated with him via the encrypted Chinese messenger app Zangi under the James Bond-inspired alias of Q. Oh, man, right? And then that's, of course, what Lithuanian prosecutors have claimed. And then the teenager who fled Ukraine after the February 2022 invasion and resettled as a refugee of the European Union alleged carried out the attack in May of 2024 and got caught. Again, the allegations are the latest to emerge from Russia's hybrid conflict campaign in Europe, which is targeting factories and other key infrastructure in retaliation for Europe's military support of Ukraine. You know what's really crazy is they targeting factories and other key infrastructure in retaliation of Europe. Now, let's step away from what they are saying about those countries, right? Let's think about our own. Has there been any answers about why all of our food manufacturing factories were, mysterious fires? Like, why is there no answers on those, right? And they called people crazy for trying to say that there was more than usual, but every other day we were seeing a chicken factory or this or that. And if you look at the inflation on things like eggs and chicken and all of the weird stuff that was going on, the culling of the chicken, because the birds just kept getting these things where we had to get rid of all of them, the cows, everything. You don't think somebody could grab something out of a lab and go boom, and then take something and spread it through our birds, so all of a sudden we have to cull it, then our prices all go up and our economy starts staggering because everybody can't afford to frickin' live? Why is there no answers on that? Do you see that this is a playbook? This is an obvious playbook. Targeting factories and other key infrastructures in retaliation for the support, right? Why isn't anybody asking about ours? I mean, look at how many suspicious things happened here, and we still don't have a single damn answer on that? That's crazy to me. Dex, go ahead.
So the kid went into the bedding department and put some incendiary devices in there with the intent to burn down the store. I'm just kind of curious how factories and key infrastructure equates to an IKEA store.
Yeah, yeah, key infrastructure. but for Vilnius and for those Europeans, dude, IKEA is like a part of life. IKEA is life. IKEA is life, bro. IKEA is life.
I think of it as like a Walmart. If you took one out, you just drive down the street to the next one, right?
Yeah. Well, no, IKEA there. Hej, Hej. You can't say that. IKEA is close to our heart. Okay? IKEA is life, bro. IKEA is life. I don't get it either. But now they can't get their Billy shelves, and so chicken for us is a big deal. Over there, it's like, Billy shelves are part of their economy. It's like, I bet they're talking over there. They're like, look at how expensive Billy shelves are getting. $250 for Billy shelves? Oh, gosh. People can't survive anymore. I don't know. That's a good point, Dex. And before we move on, it's like 20 hours left on this. So get in there, get over to this giveaway, because we worked to get this going again, and EMP Shield was awesome to put it on. 5 people from our audience only, this is not shared between 20 channels, will get a free EMP Shield. It can easily be wired in less than 10 minutes into your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, generators, and protect them against not only an EMP strike from an adversary, but also Carrington-level event from the sun. If you've been following the solar activity, it's been absolutely nuts. We're talking about lots of weird stuff going on over the last week. I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but have you ever had your TV, your power surges, all sorts of things with no storms going on? That kind of stuff has been going on for like a week and a half for me. But again, leave me what's been going on with you down below. But again, this is a protection unit. Again, this is something that they are now, this company is, helping out agencies like DHS and DOD on. So if you want to get that same protection and you don't have the money to afford one, then enter this dang giveaway. Again, 5 of you will get that, and 1 lucky winner will actually get $1,000 at the griddown.com store, where you can get a Grid Down XP, or again, a readout system for your house. One of the best solar generator systems out there that is EMP Shield protected right off the bat. Again, also the sale, if you do want to just buy one during this giveaway, there is the largest sale ever. And even just up until about 2 days ago, I totally didn't realize I was doing the math wrong. So say on one shield, you get $50 off plus 20. That's $70 off on one with our code that stacks. But say on 2, you get not only $50 off on each device, so that's 100 and 160. Again, for 3, 120 plus per one is 50, so 150 plus 120. Again, for this 200, you get a 200 plus 200. You get $400 off of 4 devices. You are never going to see a cheaper price on this, especially if you're going to do bulk, if you're going to do some on, again, if you're trying to outfit multiple cars or something. So again, that is our discount, which always stacks on top of that. And I kept thinking like $50 and 200 or 120 plus 50. No, it's 150 plus 120. That's giant. And it's only going on, it will go on, I think, slightly longer than the giveaway. But again, get over there and go get yourself one if you've been waiting on the fence. Marfooglenews.com/EMP, code MARF. It will all be added in on your cart. All right. And you're helping us out. You're preparing yourself. And again, You are also helping an all-American company that makes all their stuff in America down to the screws. Dex, Russian cable attacks threaten to cut off the world's internet.
Well, that's a big deal if they do it. So, according to military chiefs at NATO, they've been warning that the global internet blackouts following a string of suspected Russian attacks on subsea cables is coming. Telecom companies, including Vodafone, O2, Telefonica, Orange, have all written to the UK, EU, and NATO officials warning that a rise in sabotage incidences was putting critical services at risk. So, if these incidences have been happening, what does it mean when the time comes for them to really do it, and how quickly would it go down, and how big would it be? And it probably would be pretty significant, at least disconnecting Europe, at least the UK from mainland Europe, disconnecting the lines between even Sweden and Norway, but also the transatlantic lines that go all the way across, both maybe even to Spain, but also up to the UK and into Europe. So all of those lines could be susceptible. And if you cut off Europe and cut off the UK and cut off America from it, what does that leave us with? That leaves us only with satellite. So that's going to be an interesting play if this escalates. How quickly would that go down? I think it would be one of the first things they would do.
And funny enough, alongside all of the subsea cables, so if you cut those, but don't worry, we've got satellites. Oh, wait, but we've been covering nonstop coverage of Russia and China consistently and constantly practicing to take down our satellites. We even have the responses. The thing is they don't just put out, oh, our satellites are in danger. No, what they do, which we cover, DoD puts out, we're all of a sudden trying to protect all of our satellites, and they're turning on things to monitor so they can see when other countries are monitoring our satellites. So you see that and you go, okay, why are they doing that? Oh, it's because they are expecting something. They are watching for every one of our satellites. If somebody is tracking our satellites, they even want to know if regular Bob or Steve in Minnesota is tracking our satellites, they're going to know you're doing it. That's what they're doing right now. They are worried about our satellites. There's so many obvious signs that this is about to pop off. I don't know how people are still denying that this is going on. And then Whistleblower claims Meta helped China develop advanced AI to outcompete American companies, bombshell testimony. Now, the whole time that Zuckerberg was sitting here and all of a sudden overnight switched to being like this, I'm surfing with an American flag and I'm making a Ginsu knife to just cut right through censorship. I'm sorry. I think it's a bunch of BS. I think that the dude has been a help in so much censorship. I don't think anybody's ever going to go back to Facebook. I just saw the other day that Meta, Facebook, whatever you want to call it, I still see people my age on it, but I don't see anybody younger. No, the younger kids don't even know what the hell it is. It's like MySpace for after Facebook came out. And I see people post and they post like, oh, I'm going to be in town. No comments. Under like a guy's post who used to be like the most popular guy in high school. And there's like two people going, well, you could come to my church. Hey, I might be around. Do you want to hang out with me? And then no response. It's like nobody's on it. And I'm not insulting anybody that is. For us older people, it's great to keep in contact with our friends and family from like way back. But even the people that are constantly posting, they're constantly posting to no responses. Like nobody's even on the damn thing. So I don't think there's a rebound for that. Now the groups and things, that does have a lot of meaning. Like the Facebook groups, fan pages, things like that, those still actually have a lot of value now, right? But as far as personal people that are posting on Facebook, I mean, if it was funny because you look back at that same account, that guy's account back when people are on, it's like he had 1,000 replies and everybody was on. Nobody's on anymore. So I think that switch from, he's trying to save his company. But mind you, I don't think they're saving. When you have helped other countries, when you've helped our own country censor us and absolutely track and trace us and lifelog us, I don't think there is any redemption for your company. So with this, they're claiming it. I personally believe these whistleblowers that they were helping this, and it goes along with stories we covered back then and theories and different people that were saying this in rumors a long time ago. Dex, as far as Meta, aka Facebook, them helping this, that would make a whole lot of sense.
Well, it would, and it's a big deal given, the fact that we're seeing China make, major headway in AI, and they've been trying to prevent it.
And how did China get ahead, right? How did they farm? What did they farm? What kind of information did they farm to get this? And how did the CIA came out and said that, or the NSA came out and said that China had a bigger profile on everybody than they've ever seen. As far as China has a profile on each one of you, a bigger one than we even have. How does that happen? Well, apps like Facebook. Did they just scrape the data publicly, or did they have a fire hose straight into their AI? We don't know, but that's what the whistleblower is claiming, that they helped and purposely helped. We'll see what happens, though. Again, this is something I believe. Again, I'm not saying that is absolute fact because I'm not trying to get sued. But again, I believe it. And then, Dex, the president talked about weapons. I mean, we could play this. I think.
Yeah, you gotta hear what he says.
Yeah.
I mean, this. You guys tell us, what do you think he's talking about?
Yeah, check this out. So hold on.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not. And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not. But
so, yeah, and I'm sure he's right. I believe we absolutely have some crazy, crazy weapons that no one even knows about. I mean, everybody has said for years that we're 30 years ahead of what even the public knows about. By the way, is that's the FIFA trophy, is it not? Geez, that thing's giant. Holy moly. That right there in the corner, look at that thing. Jeez. As far as this goes, another meeting done where he brings everybody into his office. Have you guys not noticed this? He literally brings everybody into this one little room. Doesn't that say something to you? I think it's because of the risks to his life that he's having everybody come to him. Or it's a PR thing where they want, the image is that he is literally working 24/7, so you're going to have to come into his office to talk to him. Dex, have you ever seen this? I know they do a lot of like briefings.
I think we just got used to not seeing it because the last president never had anybody, and especially the press, gather around him for a conversation. I mean, like, he used to have, Trump, and the time before, he always had people in the office and talking, and I think other presidents have too. But yeah, we just got so used to not seeing it. So it's kind of a shock to us now. But man, check out those gold curtains.
Afternoon.
Yeah. Check out those gold curtains, man. Everything is just gold. He is golding out the White House. You notice that? There's a picture going around of I can't remember which room it is. It's one of the rooms where there's a picture of Biden meeting with Trump, and you can see the room, and then they've got the picture of the same room with Trump either meeting with Netanyahu or just sitting there by himself. And the decorations, it's just like it went from, just plain to gold everywhere.
And I'm pretty sure I know what he's looking at. Look, this guy right here with his hand in his pocket. If you zoom in really close, you can still see there's a booger right there. That's a booger right there. It's very hard to see. Look closely. Put the phone really close to your face. Hold on. Yeah, like this.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. So let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand.
Far more powerful than people understand. All right. And then China unleashes the world's first 16-barrel weapon. I don't think it's the first. I swear there was. I mean, there's chain weapons, right? Are those 8 or something like that? But this thing is insane. You got to see pictures of it. This is supposedly to take down enemy missiles, right? Dex, this thing is pretty beefy looking. It's basically a square of barrels that are just firing out nonstop projectiles.
Yeah. I mean, if you put 2 of them side by side, you could have 32 barrels, right? So, I mean, but yeah, it's basically a barrage of a lot of ammo that gets fired off at one time from one pointed direction and targeting system. But yeah, they said it's to go after the drones, and missiles.
So obviously that is something that I believe we have something very similar, but how is this the world's first? I swear I've seen stuff like this, but this thing is nuts looking. I wonder, I'm sure there's, problems to have that many barrels right side by side. I mean, heat and things like that. When you're firing that much out of barrels next to each other, that barrels heat up. So I wonder how, they actually did this. That's probably why you didn't have that before. But again, this is obvious preparation for something. And then Harvard scientist claims Mars was home to a civilization that was wiped out by a nuclear war. Now, I've heard our community talk about this for a long time. I guess the part that gets me is that Harvard scientists are talking about this. And by the way, what is going on with Harvard? Harvard is all about UFOs and about, Mars civilizations and things like this. Where are they getting their info? Again, an ancient civilization on Mars was wiped out by a nuclear attack from another alien race. It might sound like the plot of a science fiction novel, but Harvard scientist Dr. John Brandenburg, again, this is Brandenburg, this is not any the two from the previous claims, believes this catastrophic event really happened. Dex, this is a really something I've heard in the community for a long time, that essentially Mars was the last Earth. And even comments by Elon, certain things about Mars and terraforming it and getting it to turn back into that. A lot of people believe that we actually came from Mars, that Earth was terraformed, and that, I've heard some really crazy things, like the moon is actually a satellite that was put there to monitor, the progress on a new planet, because we came from Mars, and that there's this whole, humans used to be there and now they're here. But of course, a lot of this stuff would end up rewriting history, and history buffs and the elite of the history world, they won't allow anything to change like this. So I'm surprised that this is a Harvard scientist saying this. Dex, what do you think about Mars and?
He's basing it off scientific information, and it got picked up by some of the science journals. It's also been picked apart by others, suggesting that it may not be as accurate as it could be, and maybe we don't know why. But basically, what he said is look, there's this thing called Xenon 129. It's consistently across all of the planets in our solar system, so you see them in our planets, and it's usually on the surface. He goes, but when you look at Mars, it's not on the surface; it's in the atmosphere. And what is on the surface is other forms of things. So he said that there was high concentrations of xenon 129 in the Martian atmosphere, while uranium and thorium are on the surface. Well, what that means is the xenon 129 is stable. It's a non-radioactive gas. It's one of the natural forms of the element xenon, and colorless, odorless, and tasteless. And it's naturally found when it's released during nuclear fusion. So in other words, if nukes go off, then the xenon 129 gets put into the atmosphere. So he is suggesting that based on the fact that there's a higher levels of uranium and thorium on the surface and this high level of xenon 129 in the atmosphere, that that's the leftover of a massive nuke event that took place on the planet. And that's why it's different than all the other planets in our solar system.
Yeah, and so it was targeting that postulated the red color could have been due to a naturally occurring thermonuclear explosion. Right? This whole thing is just it's pretty wild. One thing it reminded me of is back when Elon was saying that they needed to do some sort of terraforming there. And if you look at what the terraforming would consist of, is that they would actually do some sort of thermonuclear device or some sort of blow up. And there was a description of how it could happen and some of the theoretical stuff. And they said that it would cause a blue hue at the top and everything. Do you guys remember this a few years ago?
Yeah, he wants to nuke Mars, nuke the poles, melt the ice, put it into the atmosphere to create a terraform.
Some think that he already did. So, blue above Mars. Let me see if I can find one of the images that was out a few years ago. People with telescopes were seeing that Mars basically looked like it had this blue hue. I can't remember what year it was. It's got to be at least 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago that this happened. Gosh. Blue hue above Mars. And they called it a phenomenon. But the timing in the news was super weird. Gosh, I wonder if I can find that picture. It was by an amateur astronomer. Let's see here. Let me see. Let me see if I type it right. Yeah, see something here. Gosh. If you guys can find that picture and tell me what to look up. I know a lot of you followed. I did a video on it. It was very, very odd. It was a blue glow at the top of Mars. It looked a whole lot like this, only at the top it was blue. And this was right around... Wait a second. Strange show spotted high above surface. Yeah, no, it was clearly a blue glow at the very top. And back then people thought, wait, are they already doing this? And then by 2029, he said that a million people would be moved to Mars and all of this. And we're like, how would that time frame work out? A lot of people said it would only work out if they were already doing it. But who knows? Let's see. No, dude, that was on Jupiter. No, this was on Mars. I promise you. I will find it. There was a blue thing that was on Jupiter as well. I'm telling you, I know for a fact, and I will find it. I'll find it. I will try to find it before the end of the show. All right, and then, yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that we could have been living there? Rip Curl said something like, what if aliens are the humans from our past, and they basically designed us? The Greys, they say, look almost like an evolved version of us. In fact, they say they don't have fingernails, and they have these big eyes and big brains. And where scientists see us evolving would be, why do we even have fingernails, right? Well, back in the day, we would use them. They were actually useful. We don't use our fingernails anymore. Scientists even believe that we will not have fingernails through evolution, that our fingernails will fall off or whatever because we don't use them like we used to have to. Funny enough, I just watched this week Waterworld again. One of my favorite movies from when I was younger. I watched Waterworld a million times when I was younger. And what a good freaking movie. It's like the Jurassic Park of the end of the world. But in that movie, you know that actually talks about the poles reversing and water covering the planet because of some sort of big disaster. What a solid movie if you haven't seen it. Everybody hated on that movie. Everybody said it was the worst movie ever. It's like Mad Max on water. I think that's freaking awesome. And then before we move on, make sure to go check out Jase. Again, this is one of the best ways to get yourself a kit of all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics. If we are at all close to a war with China, then I'd highly recommend getting yourself over there and talking to a board-certified doctor through a quick appointment on your phone, tablet, or computer and get yourself a kit. It's super easy. Also, there's an add-on list where you can say, hey, doctor, can I grab, you got a whole list. Let me grab an albuterol inhaler, or that stuff that they made fun of Joe Rogan for taking and defamed him and said, you're friends with horses. That stuff. You can get all of it over at the add-on list. So go over to marfooglenews.com/Jase. Make sure to use the code MARF. Not only will you save money, but you will also be saving yourself. If you ever have an event in your city, whether it be a storm, an earthquake, a fire, whatever it may be, if you can't reach the hospital or if the hospital's not there, then this is going to be coming in absolutely clutch. marfooglenews.com/Jase. Make sure to use the code Marfoogle. And then Dex, secret meeting, China acknowledged role in U.S. infrastructure hacks.
Wow. So they're admitting it, not intentionally, but it's coming out. And we knew this, like we've always said, like they've been the ones and they've said it, that we have said it. But now to hear them admit to the fact that they have been, behind the widespread series of cyber attacks on U.S. infrastructure, that's kind of a big deal. And, it goes beyond just having our intelligence say, well, we think it's them because it looks like them. They're saying they've been doing it. So when you think about trade war, you think about Taiwan, you think about the advancement that they want to have and become the global dominant power. And then you look at actions like what they've been doing in the cyber warfare against the U.S. I mean, we've already been at war with China, technically speaking.
Yeah, I mean, right now with the trade tariffs and everything how it is right now, I mean, it's pretty obvious that something is about to pop. Somebody has to buckle before before all this goes down. For years, people have said that this just couldn't happen, that nobody will ever go to war with China because of how connected we are. And I think that that's absolutely absurd. What has to happen is what we're looking at right now. All right. By the way, let me see here. So something just like this was seen. This is 2025. There was images that looked a lot like this. And there was blue hues, but this isn't it either. At the very top, there was an explosion. I'm going to continue. I'm going to show you guys tomorrow because I actually have a show. I talked about this, and Jacob did too. And the timing of it, the news, the top secret launches that corresponded with it, it was really weird. So I'll show you guys that tomorrow. I will do some research and go back through my shows and find that. Because it was super weird. And it doesn't look like even this. This is a good example of kind of what it looked like. But I'll show you guys tomorrow. All right. And then thank you so much, Neil Nelson. You are our top supporter tonight. Thank you for everybody that showed up to this very late show. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dex, thank you so much for your support tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
All right, you guys. Have a wonderful night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It's not time for the shout show. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shout show.